So today I'm going to show you how to integrate Certdog with an existing Microsoft CA. So you may want to do this to make use of the Certdog UI for issuing certificates, or to enable a REST API, PowerShell, Java, or .NET interface to your existing Microsoft CA, which can all be provided by Certdog. So what I'm going to do first of all is log in, and what we have here is just a few certificates that we configured in the last video where we set up a single issuer. So to configure the Microsoft CA, there's a couple of things we need to do. The first thing to note is that Certdog communicates to the Microsoft CA using an agent, which is a Windows service. And here it is. Okay, when that's first installed, that needs to be approved. So come down here to Agents, check that this is the agent running on your machine that you've installed it on, and all we need to do is approve that. Okay, that agent is now ready for use. Now the second thing we need to do is set up a service account which has the permissions on the CA and the template to issue and revoke certificates. Now if you need to know what these permissions are, you can always click down here on documentation, and we can search for permissions. There's setting Microsoft Active Directory certificate services template permissions, and this will go through the permissions required for the account to place onto the CA. So I have an account already set up, which is a service account, has the correct permissions on the CA and the template I want to use. So we just need to configure that within Certdog. There's two ways we can do that. We can configure it here as a credential, or you can configure it on this service itself, where we could come to here, properties, and we would configure the account here as follows. And this is CA user, and we would set then the password for that account and restart that service. But I'm going to set it up as a credential in Certdog. So I've come down here to credentials. I've clicked add new credential. It's a username and password credential, and I'm going to call this the CA user. And I have the username and password. Okay, and I'm going to add that. And there's my credential. So now we can set up the issuer, which is will point to a specific template on the Microsoft CA. So we come to certificate issuers, click add new issuer. We're going to select Microsoft CA this time. Next, I'm going to give this a name. So as I mentioned, this is going to reference a specific template. So I'm going to call this TLS, and I'm going to reference a TLS template in this instance. Now the next piece of information we need is the configuration. So this is the domain and CA name, and the way you get that information is if you open a command prompt and run certutil, and this machine is in the same domain as the CA, we'll see we get the information required. Now if you have multiple CAs configured in your domain, you may have multiple entries, but the part that we want is this config part here. So we take this string here, which is the machine name and the CA name there, and we're going to plug that right in there. We set it to use the credential. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if we had set that account to be the logon for the service, we would choose this option, no credential, use the local agent account, but we've set the credential up within Certdog, so we're going to use that. This is the agent that we configured and we approved just a moment ago. It is possible to have multiple agents running in your environment, and if that's the case, you could choose which agent you would like to process requests for this issuer. We only have one for the moment. And now I'm going to click Get Available Templates. And that's going to return all the templates that are currently on that Microsoft CA. Okay, so I'm going to choose this TLS 90-day template. That's the template I've permissioned with the account that we configured up here. And I'm going to make this available to the admin team. And now a team has permissions on certificate issuers. So when we create this issuer, everyone within the admin team will be able to request certificates from this issuer. I'm going to click add, and that was added. Okay. So now if we come over here to requests, okay, we have the CSR request, so we can request a certificate based on a CSR. And we have the DN request where it will create the CSR for you. Okay, so let's just do this quickly and see if this works. So test one, let's just leave it as that. So let's just make sure we've got the correct issuer here because we now have two. And the one we just created was Microsoft TLS. The generator can stay the same. Everything else can stay the same. Let's give that a password and request that certificate. And here we go. That has requested the certificate from the Microsoft CA. We have a look at this. You'll see these are the details that the Microsoft CA has added. And I have the Microsoft CA added as a snap-in here. And here it is. So we can just check that this certificate, test one, was issued from this CA. And we go down to subject, and there he is, test one. Now, what else we can do from here is we can also revoke it. Click revoke, it's no longer needed, and revoke it, and revoke now. And that's been done. And if we go back to the Microsoft CA and look at revoked certificates, here we are, subject one has been revoked. And that is how you configure your Microsoft CA. Next, we'll be showing you how to use the PowerShell module to obtain certificates via PowerShell, as well as the REST API. Okay, thank you.